Hi everyone, welcome to this week's Karma Cards and happy 4th of July. And there's so much going on right now. I'm going to try and encapsulate it for you and give it to you. But basically, first thing that's happening is we've got a new moon in Cancer tomorrow, Friday the 5th. I had to think about Friday, July 5th, new moon in Cancer. There's a lot of energy inside this one. The new moon in Cancer is always a great time for nurturing and self-care and really looking at how you're taking care of yourself, how you're taking care of your home environment and those around you. And it's a new moon, so it's always an opportunity to start something new. And there is a lot of newness in this particular new moon. We also now have Saturn and Neptune both in retrograde, and they're going to be in retrograde. Saturn, I believe, gets out of retrograde in middle of November, and Neptune will get out of retrograde in December. So most of the rest of the year, we're having these influences over us. And again, it's an internal look about really with Saturn, it's like, let's get serious and be realistic. And Neptune, it's like, where have I been unrealistic? And so there is this mental search and clarity that wants to happen about getting clear about what is real and concrete for you and what is basically illusion or delusion, depending on how the thoughts are going. And it's not always that you're thinking too big. In fact, I rarely see that with people. It's usually self-limiting. And we're under that investigatory window right now. As I've said before, the Arcturians talked about that we're in an amplified time of clearing those blocks between these two full moons in Capricorn. And smack in the middle of those two full moons is the new moon in Cancer. And by the way, we are doing the new moon spirit circle tomorrow evening, July 5th, 6 p.m. Pacific time. If you'd like to join us and learn even more about what's happening, go through the manifestation process with me. I've got a beautiful ritual I do with people, as well as receive messages from whoever's coming through. I know like the Arcturians often come through. My team says the Sirians are coming through tomorrow, and that's because the Sirius Stargate is fully aligned with this new moon, and I feel that coming in. So I'm really excited to hear the messages that the Sirians are going to provide for us as well. So if you want to join us for that and Psychic Q&A, here's the link. It's in the description below. You can click on it. You can join us for one circle. You can join us for many circles, however you'd like to do it. Get to hear all the information, work with the energy, and receive the recording at the end. So if you're interested, go here. I look forward to seeing you there. One other thing before I move on, I am doing a free event on Insight Timer. Now, the timing on this might be a lot of you see it later. Don't fret, I'm going to be doing more. But if you catch this in time, I'm doing a live free event on the Insight Timer app. I will be doing the manifestation water vessel ritual with people for free on Insight Timer. You don't even have to subscribe to get into the event for free. You just have to have the app. So if that's something you'd like to do, I will also put this link right here, will also be in the description below. Look for it. You can click on it and it will show you when and give you access to that event. And I'm really excited about it because it's my first one on Insight Timer, and I'm so excited to get together with a group of people live, take them through this, and chat with you on the day of the new moon. So again, lots to tell you. So much stuff going on. Today we also had more solar activity. We're finally getting some M-class flares back in. We've been seeing a lot with the Schumann resonance, a lot of spikes and jumping of timelines, but the sun has been a little bit quiet. And of course, now today it's acting up again and giving us a lot of solar energy, which means there's even more for us to process. And I feel like there's some divine timing that it's happening with this new moon. Like I said, it's the only Cancer moon of the year. Usually we have a moon in each sign, a new moon and a full moon in each sign. Very rarely does it happen twice. That's why this double full moon in Capricorn is pretty exciting, because it's a bookend. It's bookending this new moon, which is about the opportunity to create the change. So the full moons are about releasing the things that are preventing us from changing. And this new moon is really about the opportunity to change and what you want to shift into. And it's a good moment to consider and think about, what am I shifting into? Because that's what's coming in right now. And there's so much to support the new energy. This is an opportunity for us to grab. And I cannot wait to go over that in the new moon spirit circle. But let's get to the message from the team right now, because the message from the team is interesting. It's sort of letting us know that there's been some work we've been doing. They've been talking to us about the work we've had to do, but they're also alluding to new opportunities. And I just feel like it's very much centered on this particular new moon. Now, Cancer is a sign that's ruled by the moon. So when the moon sits in Cancer, it's at a heightened strength. And again, the moon represents our ability to attract to us. It's not a giving force like the sun. It's a receiving force. And it's talking about what you're attracting. And so we're being asked to pay attention to what we're attracting. And the team wants you to know there are opportunities around you. You've already started calling them in. So whatever work you've been doing before this point is calling in opportunities now. And you should hopefully see them. And they're saying, please keep your eyes open and be aware of the opportunities around you. Let's not default into too good to be true. If the opportunity is presenting itself, it's letting you know now is the time. And that's the message the team predominantly wants me to get across to you, is that now indeed is the time to seize the moment. There is an opportunity for something you have been calling in. And not to look the gift horse in the mouth or decide that you're not ready yet, which is another way that we can sort of block ourselves from getting what's meant for us. Opportunity does come back around. So there are times where we have a great opportunity and we just, for whatever reason, we miss it. Either we don't see it or we talk ourselves out of it because we don't feel prepared. And to that point is what the team would like to talk about. They want you to acknowledge that you're more prepared than you realize. If you've been calling in something and asking for it consistently, that's part of the preparation. And it's in the calling comes sort of like the longer you have to wait, the more prepared you are to receive it, is the gist of what they want you to know. So if you've been working towards something and it's taking a long time, do not fool yourself into thinking you're not prepared. The time you had to wait was a preparatory period. And there were probably a lot of adjustments that you made to help attract it into this now moment. Those adjustments are the preparation for receiving it. So stay open, and whatever comes your way, whatever it looks like, feel in with your heart if it's a yes or a no. So the heart answers very simply. It's either going to be a or a mm-mm. It's really simple. Doesn't give you a lot more information. It's just that instinct and knowing. So when the opportunities present themselves, that's what you want to pay attention to. Do you get the or as it comes in? The rest of it, the conversation that happens up here, just be mindful of that, because ego, unfortunately, our ego is destined for us to not achieve what we want, because then it gets to stay in control. Whenever we're feeling less than ourself or less than what we desire, we're usually defaulting to our ego, which loves to be in control. And so just be aware of the ego messages of lack of preparation, or it doesn't look like how I thought it would look. There's something really potent coming in right now that you've attracted. The longer you had to wait, the more prepared you've become. And we're never going to feel ready. You're never going to feel ready. It's just like before you get married, you're not going to feel ready to be married because you don't know what it's like. Before you have kids, you're not going to feel ready to have kids because you don't know what it's like. But all of these things you are ready for. You just might not feel it. And it's the same with these opportunities that are being attracted at this now time. You called it in, you magnetically attracted it to you. You might not feel ready for it, but you actually are more ready than you realize. And it's that trust in the moment and trusting your heart. Again, the heart's not going to give you a long speech. It's going to just let you know that yes, this is the direction, or no, it's not. And if you get that yes, follow the thread of wherever this opportunity is trying to take you, whether it's meeting certain people. So the opportunity might not look like the exact thing you're calling. It could be the opportunity is you get a chance to meet someone who leads you to the person you're supposed to meet. That's an example of an opportunity that's coming in. An opportunity might look like having a very potent and powerful conversation with someone that you didn't know was connected to your bigger desire. It could be finding something, finding a class, or submitting yourself to something as an opportunity that comes up, like somebody's doing a call looking for certain people, and you're just like, what the hell? I might as well go for it. Go for it. It's not always going to show up exactly how you think it's supposed to show up, but it is showing up now. And the dominant message my team wants to share is it's here. You attracted it. You prepared for it. And no matter how you feel, as long as you get that yes, you're ready for it, even if it doesn't quite feel that way. And with that, let's look at this week's karma cards. All right, I'm going to get to the karma cards, but I just wanted to share a synchronicity with you first, since it literally happened in the middle of me recording this karma card episode. So as you heard, the message from the team was opportunities are around you. You are attracting them. The work you've done has pulled them in. You're not going to know what they look like. In the middle of recording these karma cards, I had to stop because I had a conference, a Zoom meeting with someone about being on my podcast. The conversation really developed and it became all about like a mini coaching session for me, which was fabulous. And by the way, Jeffrey, if you're watching, thank you. Thank you. But this is what I'm talking about, is that the opportunity, you don't even know, and literally before, I know this is hard to believe because it seems like I could easily stage it. I promise you the timestamps are different. This is a different point in time that I'm recording this part. I did not expect there to be an opportunity to do some limiting belief dismantling that I have been talking to you about, that's the period that we're in right now. Did not expect that to be happening. I thought I was meeting someone for a completely different reason, and it turned out that the universe has other plans, that you are literally attracting opportunities for the things that you truly want to work on. And this isn't just surface stuff that you want, but the deeper, sort of the root cause of what you want. So whether it's you need to remove a self-limiting belief so that you can move forward and attract the opportunities or the things that you're really wanting, the universe is bringing it to you right now. You are highly attractive. And I just experienced what the team said was coming. And I had to share that with you because I would be remiss if I didn't share it and let you know that's how potent it is right now. Opportunities aren't always super obvious. They are sometimes disguised as something quite different. It might be a dentist appointment. You think you're just going to the dentist and you end up meeting somebody there who has the information you need or is a contact you're supposed to make. And it looks mundane. It doesn't look like what you think it's going to look like. So just know you are attracting these opportunities right now. It's very strong and it's very divinely timed. And I want to share that with you so that you understand how serious this, in a great way, how wonderfully serious this is, and how much is coming that is in a package you're not expecting it in, right? So not all presents look like presents when you get them, but nevertheless they are. And with that, let's look at this week's karma card. I have 3 decks here: planets, signs of the zodiac, and the houses of astrology. And I've already asked my team this week, what is the message? And I've got 2 sets of answers: a set in red, which are action related, and a set in blue, which are outcome related. And the way that you play is you tune in with that beautiful intuition of yours and feel what is the divine guidance you need this week. Are you looking for action related guidance? Or are you looking to see how things resolve over the next 7 days? And of course, you can always choose both. And while you are choosing, the timing for this reading is July 4th through July 11th. The flavor of this is eerily similar to last week. So we've got Neptune again. Neptune is always about, it's the planet of spirituality. It talks about the idealization and seeing that bigger picture, but also the actions tend to be more about letting go and sacrificing and stopping and letting it happen instead of trying to make it happen. In the sign of Aries, which is almost like the polar opposite in energy, Aries is very much about the doing and the direct forward movement. So there is this desire to be in leadership and in your personal power and to move yourself forward. And again, a repeat of last week, the second house, which is about value and worth. And it's not just about things you physically value and worth. It does include that, but it also, and it seems to be very much about the internal sense of value and worth that we're holding. So the spiritual action at this time is to inspire others with your willpower patiently. Willpower in this sense is that it's a tractor beam for all you Star Wars fans out there. It's a tractor beam. It's your magnetic essence pulling it in. And if you want something enough, you're going to be able to attract the opportunity to receive it. And again, like they said, like the team said before, you might have been working on this for a while. Remember, the patience is the preparation. And simply doing this will be inspirational to others. Hopefully, what I shared with you inspires you, but you will also be an inspirational force for others when you allow yourself to be magnetic. Allow the time it takes is the time it takes. And remember, patience is preparation. It's preparing you to receive what's coming. That will truly inspire other people. And hopefully they'll follow suit, because this energy is here for all of us. Mental action at this time: be prepared to sacrifice for what you think you know about what you want. I love this because this is very much a coaching conversation in my mind. What you think you know about what you want. A lot of times when we are looking for an opportunity or an experience, when we have a desire, our desire tells us it's one thing when really it's layered. There's something underneath it. It's oftentimes, like, for example, the house. That's one that always gets for me. Have that strong urge for the dream house, right? The dream house. It's not the dream house. It's what the dream house gets me. And so I want you to think like that. It's not the blank. It's what the blank gets me. What does it get you? And you need to sit with that for a little bit and understand that you're going to have to let something go to receive that. For example, if the dream house gets me security, what am I going to need to let go to receive security? I'm going to have to let go of a limiting belief that security exists outside of me. I'm going to have to realize that the feeling comes before the manifestation, because that's how it actually works. First we think it and feel it, and then we get it. And a lot of times we do this backwards because we're trained to, but we're trained get the thing and then I'll feel that way. And it's never how it works. And people do get the thing and they don't feel it. For example, I know in Martha Beck's book, Steering by Starlight, there's a woman who talks about, I'll feel safe when I have $20 million. And this woman manifests the $20 million and still doesn't feel safe. Then she comes back and she's like, no, 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 I need another 20 million to protect the first 20 million and then I'll feel safe. And it just kept going. So getting the thing doesn't give you the feeling you're looking for. Rather, having the feeling, invoking the feeling, holding the feeling, concentrating on the feeling gets you the thing. And then once you have the thing, it doesn't even matter anymore, actually, if you get the thing you think it is, because once you have the feeling, it doesn't matter if the thing shows up or not. And a lot of times it does. It will show up anyway, but you'll already be in that place that you need to be. What you're going to have to sacrifice is the need for it. You're going to have to figure out how to get in the state and be in that state. Once you're in that state, now you're attracting the thing that you want. But we have to sacrifice the I'm not there yet. I don't have it. If we're constantly affirming to ourselves that we're not it or we don't have it, we are pushing it away. It's instead of being attractive, we're repelling. Now we're pushing it back because the universe is going to agree with us. So if we say, I don't have it, we're going to get back, you're right, you don't have it. And it'll just be reaffirming what you're saying. So we're going to have to sacrifice those self-limiting beliefs and the things getting in our way in order to get what we want. Now, it's easy to say, sometimes harder to do. And it's not about doing it all at once. It's about consistently catching ourselves and consistently going back and recognizing how much of my time am I really believing I'm secure and how much of it am I spending in insecurity. And you might be surprised that you could be a very positive person who practices your affirmations and really believes in all your heart that you're focusing on the positive, and yet it's those moments where that fear and the suffering creep in and you start doubting it. Those are the moments, and all we have to do is see, like, how much of my day am I spending in believing and how much of it am I spending in worrying. And the point here is not to judge or make yourself wrong. The point here is to notice it and try to tip the scale in the direction you want it to go, just a little bit at a time. And if you consistently do that, you will start to tip over into the I believe I'm enough. I believe I'm secure. I believe that I am safe. Whatever it is, incrementally, the more you recognize it and choose it, the more it'll consistently feel it until one day you will tip that scale and you will spend more time in the belief of your security, your safety, your abundance, whatever it is, and less time in the lack of it. Physical action at this time, yielding is the only way to do it on your own and get what you need. So, like, this is an inside job. And unfortunately, we can't have a bunch of people in here with us. It's kind of us with us. We can have help on the outside, and there will be people, wonderful people around us who can kind of point to things and show us how we're thinking. But ultimately, it's an inside job, and you're going to have to decide if you choose. I know have to sounds hard. Ultimately, though, it's you who chooses whether you surrender the old way of thinking or not. And if we're having a hard time surrendering it, we need to look at our belief of, is this thought do I believe this thought keeps me safe? If I keep focusing on the negative, do I believe it's keeping me safe? Sometimes that's what's going on, is we have a hard time letting go of those thoughts because we believe that if we're constantly afraid, we're keeping ourselves safer. And that's just the way the ego tricks us into the negative, energetic, repelling state we find ourselves in, because then the ego's in control. And again, it's not about judgment. It's just about realizing that no one can surrender this for you. No one can put it down for you. The choice is yours. But ultimately, the action right now is to surrender the thoughts of lack, surrender the thoughts of scarcity or fear that keep you in the old pattern that you are so desiring to get out of right now. So now let's go into outcomes for Neptune in Aries in the second house. The spiritual outcome at this time is the idealization of energies to meet the challenge of your beliefs. I feel like in this period, we're going to feel really good about the fact that I can do this. I can overcome this limit, right? The challenges of your beliefs. And the beliefs that we're looking at are the challenging ones, the ones that are keeping you in a place of suffering rather than letting you feel free or whole or content. We have this very strong feeling this week that's like, yeah, I can do this. And yes, you can. Idealization sometimes is overconfident, but we need that. Sometimes you need that. You need that like belief that you can fly in order to fly, right? We need to really believe in it right now. And what they're saying is there's an abundance of belief in it right now that I can do this. I have the power to do this, which you really do. And being challenged by it doesn't mean you don't have the power. It just means that there's a lot here and you're going to have to bring a lot of power to this. But you have that feeling right now that I can bring a lot of power to this. Mental outcome at this time, confusion regarding your desires, regarding what you value. So again, this is talking about the fact that you're going to have to get underneath some things and that some of us might get stuck here, meaning we are having a hard time a little bit right now getting a clear idea on what it is we want. We're really like, no, I literally want the physical home because the physical home provides all these things for me. So there's nothing else I want. I want that. We're going to have to dig here. Again, challenging beliefs. There's parts of us that are going to push back on this work because, again, there's parts of us that believe that holding on to these needs, these things we feel like we need it. They're not just going to roll over and give up and be like, yeah, dismantle me. There's a bit of a pushback here. And in that pushback can cause a little bit of confusion because we feel like we've dug and we got down to the answer, or we just can't seem to get past it. And we have to remember that this is going to require us digging into the layers. There's usually an emotional state and even a seed point. You have to figure out in some of these instances, where was this thing born? Where was this thought born? Like, was it born when this occurred? Was it born where, and for me, like with the example with the house, thanks to talking to my friend Jeffrey, I realized today, wow, I thought the seed point for this thing was in my 20s. It's all the way back to when I was about 3 or 4. I mean, very early, and seemingly not connected. It took me having to dig around and being asked a lot of questions from a different angle that I hadn't asked myself to kind of see, holy crap, it goes way back there. Well, that's big, and that's the kind of information that's going to be very helpful in dismantling it. However, it's like there's a lot of baggage with that, and no wonder I'm so attached to this dream home when home has been an issue with me almost my entire life. To kind of share with you what I'm talking about here, when I was very young, I remember having this sort of panicky feeling, and I'm talking like around 3, around 4, being in my own home, in my own bedroom with my own family and wanting to go home, and having this sort of existential anxiety about needing to go home. And now I know that that's sort of a shared feeling among people who resonate with the term starseed. You just have it in you that there was something else before this that feels more like home than right now. And it's existential because it makes no sense. I mean, when you're in your home with your family, you would think you would feel at home. And yet that's a thing that I've held my entire life, is this longing to go home. And this desperation to get back there. And I did not know it was still playing out, because finally over time you rationalize it. You're like, okay, no, that's my family. You get to a point of acceptance, but it never really goes away. And if you're not dealing with it, and if you're not dealing with the emotional core of it, it just transforms into something else in your life. And in my case, a desire for this perfect home. And the irony is I've moved a lot in my life, moved a lot when I was little and moved a lot as an adult. And I still feel like I'm in transit. I'm still looking for home. And so it's so interesting, because also I have an awareness that obviously home is where the heart is, and home is the people. It's your home. You are your home, right there. It's all around you. So it's as you can see, I hope that sharing that with you, which feels very vulnerable, but I'm happy to do it. I hope it shows you this thing is layered. It's kind of weird sometimes. You might logically understand it, but on a very deep emotional level, right, on an inner child level, there's a lot going on there. And some of these beliefs that we are trying to dismantle at this point in time, they're very deep, and they're not so linear. And you might understand it on one level and yet still struggle with it. And that's what this is talking about right now. Physical outcome at this time: sacrifice resulting from the honesty and strength of your resources. I want you to consider what is guiding you on your spiritual journey at this time. What are your spiritual resources? What are you turning to help anchor you in at this time? And what's the goal? What is the intention behind those resources? Is it to help you feel more aligned with your true nature? Is it help you make sense of the world that you live in? Is it help you to feel closer to the divine? What is it that these resources are giving you? And the more you feel connected, and the more you feel grounded in the truth from your resources, the easier it is to allow yourself to let go of the limiting beliefs, because that's what the sacrifice is. It is letting go of the false in your life, the false belief, the false ceiling, the false limit, the way you're holding yourself back, even if it's just not allowing people in, or, feeling close to people or trusting them, or if it's not letting yourself express yourself to your fullest extent. How are you holding your back? Not trusting in yourself enough. Not wanting to get closer to you because you feel hurt by yourself, or there's a disconnect there. What is it? We have to sacrifice these things. And again, I know I'm saying have to, like it's, but that's the opportunity that's here. You don't have to sacrifice anything if you don't want to. The path of spiritual growth, though, is saying, guess what? Guess what it's time for? It's letting go time. Letting go to receive more. Letting go to break through to the new level. Letting go of, it's time to jump. You can't you can't stand at the edge of the cliff and jump to the next one. You have to let go of the cliff you're standing on to jump over to the next one. And this is a scary moment for people to make that kind of shift. And so the strength and honesty of your resources are, what are your spiritual resources? That's providing that net you want, that feeling of safety, like something's got me. What are the things that you turn to that give you that sense of truth and strength, that help you know that you can have the faith to jump here, that it's okay to let go and move forward, that you're going to be watched over and protected and taken care of, and the next phase that you're meant to move into is the perfect place to be. So there's a lot to understand here. It's a profoundly spiritual moment, and yet there is a lot of hope and light in it too. So even if you're hearing me talk about sacrifice and letting go and facing these hard things, it's serious work, but it can be seriously beautiful. And if you listen to what the team said before, there's opportunities here. They're like presents in disguises, right? Instead of being shiny and with bows and beautiful wrapping paper. It's in like brown craft paper, but it doesn't mean what's inside isn't amazing. It just means you won't understand how good it is until you get into it. And so what I'm hoping for you this week is that you're recognizing the opportunities around you, that you see that you've attracted them, and that no matter how impressive or how they feel, you are ready. You're ready for it. And so let go of that cliff. Trust that something's got you and jump forward into the next version of your life, because there is beautiful things in the letting go. And with that, I'm sending you so much love. Mwah.